What's up everybody, it's Joe here with Joseph Blake Photography, and in today's video, Canon has dropped firmware updates for pretty much every single modern mirrorless R camera. We're gonna go through every single one of them. We're gonna talk about what's there and also what's not. If you just bought an R5 Mark II, you wanna watch this video. I'm Joe, this is my channel, Joseph Blake Photography. This channel we talk about tech and gear and news and reviews and the things that you do to create content, whether it's here on YouTube, elsewhere in social media, or really anywhere that you're delivering amazing photos or videos or podcasts or whatever it is that you're doing. This is where we talk about that kind of stuff and how these types of things affect you on a day-to-day basis. So let's jump into talking about these firmware updates from Canon. So a lot of these updates are bug fixes and updated support for some of the older cameras that didn't come out this last month or so to be able to support the new E6P battery, right? That's the beefier battery that comes with the R1 and the R5 Mark II, and that really is required in the R5 Mark II to get all of those special advanced features and really to get anything to work. Interestingly, on the bug fix side, I have been reading nothing but comments on Twitter, on Reddit, and elsewhere from people who have been burned by the R5 too. Now, I'm sure that there is a huge percentage of folks who are perfectly happy with their camera and everything's running well. If you can buy it, restocks have been limited. But for those who have had these issues, hopefully this firmware update for a lot of these folks resolves your problem. So let's take a look and see if it does. So starting with version 1.8 with the R3, and real quick, just a quick note. I've noticed that when a camera hits version 2.0, basically it's replaced. Does that feel right to you guys? Right? So the R3 is at 1.8. Does that mean that we're close to an R3 Mark II? I don't know. Okay, so firmware version 1.8 for the R3 includes now the protect and rating features while doing FTP transfer. And while airplane mode is on, you can now select wired as a potential connection option. That option was not available if you were in airplane mode. Fixes related to Wi-Fi and error 70 have been resolved. Looks like there was some sort of bug about shooting small objects in frame and having there be a card access error and the camera just bricking and needing to be turned on and off. Lockup when operating a custom function while also using touch function on the LCD at the same time. That would make the camera unresponsive. And a fix for issues where high-speed continuous shooting with highlight tone priority caused the camera's autofocus function to not function when set to certain ISO settings. Okay, so if you heard me talk about a problem that you're currently having with your camera, but you don't have an R3, don't worry. As I go through these other ones, if that fix is in there, I'm not gonna read it again, but just assume it's in there. All right, the R5 Mark II has been updated to 1.01. So this is an 01 update, not a 1 update. So it's not 1.1, it's 1.01, which means it's small. This is not a big update. So this fixes an issue where RAW and SRAW formats wouldn't play back properly. It improves stability of touch operation when controlling when touch control is set to sensitive. Fixes an issue where the LCD becomes abnormal after the camera resumes operation from a viewfinder state. Fixes an issue where the camera may stop working properly when the shutter button is operated while the busy message is being displayed on the screen. Fixes an issue where error 70 may be displayed when the display mode is switched between the LCD screen and the viewfinder while the busy message is being displayed on the screen. That sounds very specific, but if you've had that issue, it should be fixed. Fixes an issue in which the camera's LCD display becomes abnormal after using EOS utility to capture and import movies. Fixes an issue in which movies captured using EOS utility may not be played back on the camera, and optimizes auto white balance for specific environments when the custom picture function is set to on. And that's it. But we do have news on this. So even though this firmware update doesn't include any real changes to the camera's functionality when it comes to battery usage, there is a report in an interview reported by Petapixel. This is from a Canon executive where they said that later this year, a firmware update for the R5 Mark II will be released and 24/2398p recording when using an E6NH battery. The recommended battery choice for the R5 Mark II is the E6P, but as consumers have voiced their requests for video recording when using the E6NH, Canon felt it was important to release the upcoming firmware. So if they can do that in firmware, then that means that it was not potentially a restriction of the battery itself. It was a restriction that they just imposed in software. So you will be able to shoot 24p all-I in 4K, but everything else is still going to be missing. So 8K recording is disabled, 4K fine mode is disabled, 240p, 120p, 60p, 150 or 100p and 50p for PAL disabled. And why they chose 24p but left 30p available, I do not understand. It's like they know we like it, so that's really what it is, right? They said, no, you don't get the good thing. That's a bummer, I'm gonna be honest. That they did that, and that now that they can fix it with firmware, but that they're not fixing anything else. So that's Jaron over at Petitpixel reporting that information. But now we're also, there's an update to the R5. It's updated from 2 to 2.1. Oh, I'm excited. Enables functions to be used without the limitation in conjunction with the new battery pack. This makes it possible to shoot at the same continuous shooting speed as when using E6. So this fixes an issue where if you tried to throw in the E6P, it wouldn't give you all the features. Protecting images and rating during FTP transfer, the same Wi-Fi connection issues. That's it. That's it for the R5. Okay, let's take a look at the R6 II. The R6 II, I have one of those too. I'm shooting on it now. It is a 1.5 update, so this also updates the ability for the camera to work with the E6P and enables in-camera charging for the E6P, adds the protect and rating during FTP transfer, now adds support for peripheral coordination control. So this is a feature that reduces distortion around the edges of your image when you're using a wide angle lens and stabilization is active. This is very nice. And now it is turned on by default and active. Fixes an issue where when performing continuous shooting using the electronic shutter with both high frequency anti-flicker shooting and the OVF simulator viewing assist option set to on, you may get error 70. I've never seen that. I don't think I've ever had that happen. Fixes an issue with Wi-Fi, again, that error 70, and the issue with high-speed shooting and highlight tone priority. The R6, first Mark 1, still getting updates, now at 1.9, same stuff, nothing new in there. The R8, now at 1.4, getting access to WPA2 and WPA3 as secure protocols for Wi-Fi connections, and now being added for support to the software development assistance kit. Update for the R10 at 1.6. Again, the WPA2 and WPA3 secure protocols have been added, development assistance kit added. Issues being fixed related to speedlight attachments and accessory unavailable status messages, as well as that high-speed continuous shooting with highlight tone priority. Same updates for the R50 and support for the development assistance kit with the R100. So the R100 now at version 1.1. So that's it. I'm sure there's a lot of people out there who are very excited to get bug fixes specifically for the R5 Mark II. I know that there have been a lot of issues that people have been reporting. I don't know how often they're coming up, but I have seen a lot of different concerns with folks taking these out to paying gigs and having failures on their camera. So I'm really happy to see that those are getting nipped pretty quick. I would have liked to have seen this update now. It's been a month since the release of the camera. I would have liked to have seen the update after this uproar regarding this battery kerfuffle. I'm glad at least that they have come out to say that they'll be making 24p available in all-I codecs. And I know that there's an advantage to the new battery. I get that. But again, if you're still using the old battery, if you've got good NH batteries around, you cannot use them in the new camera. And that is honestly part of that's really a budget question when it comes to your business, right? If you're a content creator, if you're a photographer, if you're a videographer, cinematographer, if you're making money with your gear, you have to decide whether or not the upgrade to the R5 Mark II makes sense, and then take into account that, okay, if I'm hauling 4, 5, 6 batteries with me at all times, another $300 or $400 in batteries is going to be necessary, really. And that's in addition to the fact that it's harder to get them right now. And there's a delay and a back order on them. We do get occasional notices of stock availability, but yeah, it's not a great situation, especially when all the pent-up demand to get to the R5 and the R1 and the kind of mixed response to some of these announcements. I know that there are a handful of creators that are jumping to Sony, they're jumping to Lumix, jumping to Nikon, but that's good. That's good for everybody because that means that the market is strong. There isn't one player that's dominating. It's good to see that kind of go around. Everybody deserves a seat at the front of the table. Anyway, thanks for watching. If this is the kind of thing that you're into, just going over stuff as it relates to our gear, go ahead and hit the subscribe button, and I will see you in the next one. Thanks. Bye.